Anybody there? Greetings and welcome to my channel. My name's Johnny and we have some major things to talk about. Oh yeah, okay, I'm happy, I'm dancing, dance with me people, come on, I know you're out there, shake a leg. You're probably wondering why am I dancing? Well, let me explain. So for the last 2 weeks, I have had a major flare-up with my lupus, which meant that unfortunately, I was bedridden. But the medication has finally kicked in and my knees can now bend. So if you look at a previous video, you'll know that my knees couldn't bend. But now they can. So I'm taking full advantage. I'm dancing. I'm happy. I'm so excited. This is fantastic news. I am back. So basically, thank you very much for all of the positive feedback that I got in that last video. Wow, seriously, could not believe it. I was blown away at the amount of comments and just general love, experience, knowledge. I mean, wow, you guys are amazing. So thank you, because it can be very easy for you to end up almost suffering in silence on your own, especially it's an invisible illness that you can't physically see it. So for you guys to start saying, no, I'm feeling that way as well, and I love your energy, thank you very much. Because whilst I've got it, I'm going to use it. So that's the plan. Use the energy whilst you still can before it goes, and then I'm tired again. Only kidding. Anyway, we have some serious things to talk about today, guys, and we are going to discuss this. Kind of strange, right? This is actually the first time since my son's been born that I've been ill. Because up until now I've been pretty healthy, not had any major flare-ups, no issues. So this is the first time that actually I've had him with me when I've not been well. So this video is about a situation that happened a couple days ago. So let me explain. So I was sitting on the sofa, had my son with me, we were playing around, and he looked at me and I was looking at him, but in my mind I was thinking, do you know what, I've not been so great, I'm not feeling well, I feel like I'm shortchanging him because I want to give him more energy. Do you know, you want to be playing around and doing all the things that you usually do with your kids, but when you're sick or you're not feeling so great, you can't, and it really holds you back. And I was looking at him and he was just looking at me, you know, big-eyed and smiling away. And I had a flashback, and it was really, really weird. It was a flashback of a look that I got from my own dad looking at me. And I remember thinking, what's he doing? Why is he looking at me like that? But it made me remember that look, and I thought, could the two looks be the same? Could the way in which my dad was looking at me with what's going on in his mind be the exact same thing that I was thinking whilst my son was looking at me? And it made me look back and think about things. And then I thought to myself, do you know what, guys? In the previous video, I said to you guys that I was obviously orphaned quite young. You know, my mum died when I was 6, my dad died when I was 13. And quite a few people actually messaged and said, like, what happened? I did think to myself, well, I mean, it seems like it's not great, amazing news, but I thought, you know what I'll do? I'll do a video and I'll talk with you about my experience. And as the title will tell you, there's been a history of autoimmune illnesses in my family. And you know, there's lots of people that say, oh, autoimmunes, and you can't transfer it to the next child, but actually, yeah, you can. And it's quite scary, especially in my situation, the autoimmune illnesses that have actually affected me in my life, and I hope doesn't affect any of my kids past and present, you know. So anyway, I thought what we'd do is we'd go on a little journey of discovery about my life and basically how I grew up. So I hope that you guys stick around. I hope I can make it enjoyable enough that you can understand where I'm coming from and where we're gonna go, and what, you know, if this helps you in your way of maybe dealing with your own illnesses, or you know, maybe experiences that you have, share them with me. Please put them in the comments. Make sure that you know, this is a growing channel, but also relationships. You know, we together are definitely going to grow, especially when it comes to things like this where we're sharing experiences. I love that, and I really hope that you do too. Okay, so this story starts, amazingly enough, in 2 islands in the Caribbean. The first one is Jamaica. The second one is Barbados. So my mum and dad, both born in those countries, they came over here, or they came to England, and this is where they met. Now, I don't know if you're like me, if you've got parents that are from different places, and you go to those places and you think, it's beautiful here, it's so wonderful, the food is good, the sun, especially if you move to a cold country, and you say, why did you even think to leave this beautiful island to come to a cold country like the UK? But actually, if they didn't leave, I wouldn't be here now. So actually, thank you very much for your sacrifice. I appreciate the fact that you have left Jamaica and Barbados to come to England. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that. But anyway, this is where my story begins. So my mum and dad, they met in 1973. So for many of you, that year doesn't even exist. But anyway, keep in mind I am old. I just don't look so old. My parents met and they got married in 1973. My brother actually texted me and said, don't forget, it's February. I can't think of the date now. He did tell me the date. I'm so bad. Sorry. I can't remember the date. But anyway, February 1973. They got married. Pretty cold month, but hey. And then, a couple of years later, the most amazing thing that could ever happen to those two people happened. I was born. See, I blessed them with my presence. They were like, oh, we have a son. Yes, so I come about. And up until then, this is rosy, man. This is good stuff. Mum, dad. I've got, oh yeah, in this picture you can see my brother and my sister, but please can we just take a moment to appreciate those sideburns. OMG, those sideburns are what we call epic sideburns. I wish I could grow sideburns like that. So it's nice to know that my dad was fashionable back in those days, even though maybe I wouldn't rock it now. I don't think I could, but the fact was, those sideburns were epic. So that's my family picture. So up until now, everything is going rosy. So this picture is the last picture that I have of my mum where she was actually walking, which is going to sound quite crazy, but this is the last photo that I have of my mum, because throughout all this beautiful and wonderful experience, that's sad that I don't remember a great deal of it, but of all this wonderful experience, there was a dark shadow in her life, and that dark shadow was that my mum had sickle cell anemia, which is another autoimmune illness, and it was really serious. I mean, it would put her in hospital for long periods of time. So I remember my first experience. Imagine this. I would like for you to tell me, what is your first memory as a child? Just, tell me, what was your first memory? Let me know, because my first memory of my mum is sitting on the floor with my sister. My sister was holding me, and I remember looking through the living room living room door, and I could see 2 people carrying my mum on a stretcher out of the house and into an ambulance. My sister was crying, and I remember not understanding what's going on, because I was only like 2.5 years old, maybe maximum of 3 years old. So you think that's my first memory. My first memory is my mum being taken out of our home and taken to a hospital. And the sad thing about it is that she never left. So from the age of 3 until the age of 6, my mum was permanently in hospital because she was just so unwell. She was in a hospice, pretty much waiting to die, which is so sad. I look back on it now and I think, my dad was young, with a sick wife, 3 kids. That can't be easy, to be able to live. I mean, wow. Yeah. So that was my first memory. So I can picture her face. I can't picture her voice, which is sad. I think I can't picture how she sounds because I don't remember it. But my visual is of her being taken away. And that was pretty much it. I don't have any other photos because I don't think a woman wants a photo taken in hospital. Maybe now, in the world we live in now, with you share information, share pictures that maybe you. But in those days, it wasn't even digital. You used to go send your photos off to be, your negatives. You have to send them off before you get your photos back. So I don't have any other photos of my mum from this point on. That's it. Her photographic history ends there. And it's weird because that sometimes sticks in your head as well, but that's the only image I have. And then, as I said, 3 years later, she died. And, sickle cell anemia, which is an autoimmune illness, is something that has already affected me from an early age, even before I even started showing signs of my own illness. And if you link the video before, you'll see that, so my mum dies, and then my grandmother says, right, we're going to go back to Jamaica, and when I go to Jamaica, I get ill. And it was like that. So there's the connection is there as to how, from what happened to her and then what happened to me. So anyway, seems like everything's rosy. But then we get to my dad. And my dad was also unwell, also quite sickly. Now, with him, it's slightly different because my dad was active. He wanted to be an active person. He wanted to be an active man. So, he would do his very best to, play games with me and be active, because I think he knew that obviously he had an illness that was really affecting him. So if you think he was obviously a West Indian man, so he loved cricket. And when I say he loved cricket, this was a man who would listen to cricket on the radio. I mean, this is not the most interested of sports to watch. Well, imagine that you're just sitting on a seat, just listening to it. I mean, because that's how it was. He would sit and quite happily listen to cricket on the radio, and I had to as well. But then I also started to play with him. So in the garden, we'd create our own wickets and we would play for hours until he got tired. And actually, secretly, I liked football, which is quite bad. Secretly, I loved football, but obviously my dad was a cricket man, so they just didn't link up. And football was a lot more energetic, so he could only play for a little while before he'd get tired. And we would have that experience, that shared time together. But the one thing I did notice was that he'd get tired really quickly. And I think to myself, like, maybe that's just how it is with all parents. All parents get tired, I'm tired, I want to sleep. But with my dad, it was different. So with him, sometimes he would slur his speech, and his eyes would be really droopy, to the point where sometimes he would, his eyes would water. And I'd say, Dad, you've got to blink. And he'd be like, oh yeah, and he'd blink. And then when he'd blink, he would, it was like he was crying because the build-up of water in his eyes. And that's how, as an adult now, I can look back and say, yeah, my dad was really, really unwell. He was doing a lot of things that he probably shouldn't have been doing just to be, friendly and happy and nice with his son, me. But anyway, it got to the point where his swallowing was really bad. He would talk and his mouth would fill with fluids, and he just wanted to swallow, and he just got worse and worse and worse as I was getting older and older and older. And as I'm trying to understand what's going on with him, I'm also trying to understand what's going on with me, because I'm also thinking to myself, well, I'm not 100%, but it did seem a bit odd. He wouldn't smile. Sometimes he just didn't have a smile. And I love smiling. He didn't have a smile. I mean, I didn't understand that as maybe a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old, an 8-year-old. I never understood. Why don't you smile? And so it made me think he was really serious. And I think that has affected me as an adult now, that sometimes I can probably be too serious because it's what I saw growing up. In those formative years where you learn things, what I learned was that you only smile when you need to and be serious. Because that was the experience I had. I had a really, really serious dad who never smiled. What I didn't realise is that was part of his illness. He lost the muscles in his face, or to be honest, you guys can correct me exactly what it is, because I still don't truly understand it, but he just couldn't smile. He just lost his ability to look happy. And some of the photos that I'm showing you are glimpses of what I would see growing up. And so I get to 13 and he dies. Now, up until now, I've actually not said what it was that he had. So he had an illness called Myasthenia Gravis. Probably you might not have heard it. For you guys that know, who have heard it, it's a very, very rare illness. And now, because of medical science, it's not even life-threatening. But my dad had this illness in 1982. And in 1982, the life expectancy for this illness was very, very low because they were still learning about the illness. And obviously with the complications, the one thing which is quite telling, was my dad's immune system was really low. So he could get colds, he could get flu, and ultimately he died from complications from chickenpox. He actually had shingles, and that's quite common. I'm led to believe with people who have a very, very low immune system, self-esteem, they have a low immune system, they end up getting caught out with other illnesses because it's an underlying thing that ends up taking them out, and that's what happened. And so I look at that and think that was my experience up until I get to 13. So autoimmune illnesses have been a part of my growing up from I can remember. What I've not done, which is quite interesting, is appreciated that other people around the world have got that experience as well. And so when I went onto YouTube and I started seeing other people basically talking about their illness, it blew my mind, because up until now I just went, you know, you've got to get on with it, and that was it. I didn't think, actually look back, take a step back, look at how has this affected your life, and actually maybe something you say or record might help someone else going through this situation. Because I had somebody message me only the other day, and they talked about their own experience. They were basically talking about the fact that they had been misdiagnosed for their illness for many, many years, and how that ended up impacting them. Well, the same for me. I was misdiagnosed for 20 plus odd years until it eventually came up what I had, and it changed my life forever. And had I been diagnosed earlier, it might have, it would have changed it in a completely different way. I may have been a lot more sensible in choices that I made. Who knows? I don't know. But what I do know is that those experiences have helped me now to share what my experience is. It's actually quite therapeutic. I've actually found it quite nice to be able to talk about what I've gone through, and then with the comments with other people who've gone through the same thing as me, it's been amazing. It has been absolutely amazing, because you realise you're not on your own, especially when you're in an invisible illness. People that have autoimmune illnesses in many ways, it's invisible. I mean, yeah, fair enough if it's something like arthritis, you can physically see hands, joints, there could be, you'll physically see the result of the illness. But when you have something like what I have, where I have lupus, don't even notice that I'm sick until I'm sick. You wouldn't even know. And the sad thing is you could potentially be called lazy because you're not doing things because you look normal. You look all right. There's nothing wrong with you. What's wrong with you? Can't you eat some vegetables? Can't you have some vitamins? Do some exercise? I mean, all these things that people say because they think, well, that's what normal people do. When actually, for people like us with an autoimmune illness, it doesn't work. It doesn't help. And so I thought that I would make this video so that my experience may be helpful to other people. Because if you're a young person and you may have lost a loved one for an autoimmune illness, if you can understand how your illness is, how it's working with you, how it's if it's affecting you, if it's hurting you, there are dark days, but there are also good days. Remember that. Don't see it as all bad. When I was 13 years old and I had lost both my mum and dad, I thought that was the end, and I did. I thought, that's the end. What more could possibly you do, you know, because the two people that will love you the most in the whole world, obviously if you're in a sensible home, they are gone. Well, when my son was born, I looked at him and you suddenly realise, wow, this is mind-blowing. This is an amazing experience. But since I got ill, it brought back all of those other memories and emotions, and it made me think, wow, if I wasn't here, I want something for my children to see me. Not, you know, I only have a memory, and actually memories can sometimes be wrong. You know, I may have experiences that I've seen from the mind of a 6-year-old that actually there's a much bigger picture because I'm looking at it through a 6-year-old's brain. Well, this recording, I hope, will stay forever and stay up, and when my kids get old and they, what was my dad like? Well, this is a little bit of an intro so they understand. Also, obviously, autoimmune illnesses are things that transfer through your blood, you know, through your genetics. So you have to be careful. You know, you do have to be careful, and special tests need to be done for your children to make sure that they don't carry a gene or they don't have the same thing. I mean, it could be a number of different things. But anyway, people, that was the information I wanted to talk to you about. I really do hope that you enjoyed the video. It's obviously this one's a little bit longer than ones I do usually, but it's because I just thought, you know what, let me just let you guys know. Maybe you know, it's interesting. I don't know. If not, it's life. If it is, please maybe consider subscribing. Hit the like button. I'm going to be making more videos. You'll see videos with me and my wife, which is great because we also, so you know, Mrs. Morrison, to check her out as well. We're both growing, obviously at different rates, because her videos are much better than mine, and they literally are going through the stratosphere with likes and this, that, and the other. Well, with mine, it's slightly different, but hey, do you know what? We're both growing together, and we hope that you guys will grow with us too. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. You take care, and I don't know if you can see this t-shirt. The 6-pack is coming. It will be here very soon. But I'll leave it there. You take care, people. See you soon.